Buddy, welcome to Kevali Channeling Presents for October 24th. One more week to Haunted Halloween. Oh, 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 oh. That was my best scary voice. Um, um, so, as you can see, it's Kevali Channeling Presents, and usually I would have a name of my guest. Today, it's Kevali Channeling Presents Kevin Hughes. Why? Because we have decided, I think it was my guides, not we. I'm going to rephrase that. My guides have decided, and my son's in the waiting room doing this because it was actually kind of his idea too, that it was time for me to tell my story. So without further to do, I am going to click a button over here, and my rather handsome young fella of a son,
Hello, everyone.
everybody, meet a Jake.
That's me.
That is him. Can you tell we're related?
No, not at all.
I always say he's my much younger mini me. Or is it
Much
the not
younger. Much younger.
or is it the not so mini me?
Is that a fat joke?
That's a fat joke. So everybody, this is my son Jake. Him and I do so much together, it's insane. We have so many common interests, and when the idea came up to that I should be interviewed, there wasn't a question in my mind who would be doing that interview. Of course, it had to be Jake.
Well, I mean,
Because,
it helps that it was my idea to begin with.
well, you were kind of, yeah, okay. I'll give you that one. I can't
Yeah.
take that away from you. It was kind of your idea.
I said we needed to create more content about you. And I
Yes.
said, I'm taking over. I'm the captain now.
Which is really scaring me because if anybody knows us, they know that anything is possible for the next hour.
Anything.
Jake asked me, "Is anything taboo?" And I said, "No. If I don't want to answer, I'll just say I on grounds that it might incriminate me, I refuse to answer." And that's the way we're going to do it. So, without further to do, reluctantly, with nervous excitement, I hand the microphone over to my son, Mr. Jake Hughes.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, God help us all.
Just before we go any further,
I apologize in advance.
I'm going. I came at this with many different points of view today because I was like, I could either go very pointed in my questions, or let him tell his story in a very easy way. I have a couple questions that you beautiful humans actually put into Facebook when we first posted this. But to start, how did you get involved with spirituality?
How did I get involved with spirituality? Great question. I honestly think it actually started long before I realized it. Because I always say when I first got involved, you have to excuse me, my nose is going to run. It's part of being who I am. I'm not getting emotional yet, but I do have a Kleenex for when I do, because you will make me cry. I know you will make me cry, you little jerk.
I make no guarantees.
I often tell people I got involved in spirituality at the beginning of COVID, blah, 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 and then tell my story. But I was thinking about that. Actually, it was earlier today. Weird that you would ask that. Because I'm going to go way back, actually. And I don't know if you'll remember this, Jake. It was back when we were living.
Exactly where you're going.
Yeah, when we were living in Kelowna, British Columbia. And I was out there looking. I knew I always seen quotation marks. I'm going to, dead people. I always heard things that you weren't supposed to hear. I was always woken up by things that shouldn't wake you up. And that goes back to a way long time ago. But when we moved to Kelowna, that was back in probably 98, I'm guessing.
We moved from there in 2001.
So it was actually 95 or 96 we moved to Kelowna then.
97, I think.
Because we were there 5 years. 5 years between Kelowna and Kamloops. So it would have been 96, 97. So I knew there was something out there all the time. And I kind of went out and tried to, because of course, being brought up Catholic, I always thought it was a religion. There had to be that one religion. So I went out looking for a religion. We went to a couple different churches, and I actually ended up joining the Mormon church for, geez, quite a while. I don't know how long that was. A couple of years, anyways.
I was gonna say at least a couple years.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you remembered that or not.
Yeah, I remember. It's weird because I don't remember a lot about living in Kelowna, West Bank, but I remember a lot about the Mormon learnings.
Awesome. Awesome. So the Mormon church, probably, the Mormon religion is probably, I'm going to say, the closest to got it right with getting it totally wrong, if that makes sense. Anybody that is an ex-Mormon will understand my statement there. It didn't last long, and I went back to my normal crazy mental, I shouldn't use that word, my crazy self, and kind of buried everything away again. And it wasn't really until Christina Lake. Sitting in Christina Lake one day, I was still married to your mother at that time, and I picked up, or she was reading a Sylvia Browne book. And she, I had told her, I'm going to kind of jump all over the place here, but to explain it, I'm the youngest of 9 kids. When my mom your grandma, was 8 months pregnant with me, my dad passed away. So I never met him in actual physical form. Yet I used to have dreams where I would sit on a marble staircase, have a conversation with him, in-depth conversations where I'd wake up going, that was like so real. Like, what the hell was that? I remember talking to people about it, and they're like, you're crazy. You don't have dreams with dead people. Nobody has dreams with dead people. Stop smoking that stuff. So I smoked more of it and buried it. And literally I buried it because I was told it wasn't normal. Fast forward, we're in Christina Lake, a place we used to take you kids when you were young. And your mom's reading a book from Sylvia Browne, and she's describing the other side. She stops reading it, hands me the book, and she says, you have to read this page. And it literally described exactly where I was having a conversation with my dad to a T. And I was like, what the? I remember I threw the book across the porch. We were in the cabins at that time.
Yep.
And I threw it across the porch. It's funny. Everybody else is like, why is he saying that? Both Jake and I can actually visualize where I was.
100% without even thinking about it.
So I, even then I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. 2 people never met each other, described the exact same place. That's not of this earth. How can that be?
Now, can you explain it? Like what that place looks like?
Oh yeah. Marble staircase, big staircases. When I do that, I don't know if you can see both hands. Big staircases, with a big building, glass building in behind. It's like I'm going to say blue glass for lack of a better word. We never went past that. We always sat on the marble staircases and had our conversations there. I now know that it's in the astral realm. It's heaven, whatever name you want to call it. We humans get caught up on, oh, it's called heaven. No, it's called the astral realm. No, it's called the other side. It's totally semantics, Jake.
Yeah.
It is the other side. It's the astral realm. It's heaven. It's whatever you want to call it. They've showed it to me many times since. I've had my true, I hate this word, awakening. But again, it was bury it, man. This isn't normal. I got to drink some more Coronas because that ain't making sense. And Jake laughs because he knows. Then fast forward, your mom and I, we leave each other and we separate. We go our own way. And I meet Allison. And we're sitting it was during COVID. I couldn't even tell you what day it was. But she was always more spiritual than I was. And she said, you know what? Ken's doing a channeling workshop. We should take it. I always had an excuse not to take it. But of course, now we're in the middle of COVID. I had no excuses.
What were you going
So
to do? What was your excuse at that point, right? Like,
nothing. We didn't have an excuse. So I said, okay, why not? Let's take it. And I mean, to say it changed everything is putting it mildly. I'll kind of duck to the side and you can see 4 or 5 different certificates behind me. I tell people all the time, what I do isn't a gift. Every soul on earth that has a body, flesh and bone, has the ability to do what I do. It's whether you choose to hone that skill. Just like anybody can become a massage therapist, really anybody can become a doctor, anybody can become a scientist. Just a matter of, do you want to learn how to do it?
makes sense.
Are some people more apt and have a natural tendency? Of course.
Just like everything, though.
Exactly. Hockey players, same thing, right? Anybody can learn how to play hockey. Will everybody learn how to be a Wayne Gretzky? Of course not.
Hasn't been one since.
Exactly.
Hasn't been one since.
Exactly.
So
So that's a long answer.
Long answer. That's what we want. I mean, I asked one question and we're already quarter of the way through.
There you go.
You mentioned it, but being raised Catholic,
Yes.
there's a lot of preconceived notions with Catholicism.
Oh, you think?
In the religion and from people outside looking in. How
Yes.
how has that shaped your view on spirituality and what you do and how you're able to connect it back to the different religions? Like you connected it back to Mormonism, even though, from my point of view, 2 very different things.
Oh my gosh. And that's the biggest thing that I had to come to terms with, was the fact that spirituality and religion don't coexist. They're 2 different things, totally. Is all religion bad? No. Is all spirituality good? No. So 2 different concepts, 2 different. I'm very spiritual. I'm not one iota religious. I honestly, in my opinion, I always preface it. That's my political background. My my opinion is man screwed up religion. They figured out that they could control the masses, and that's what religion has done from way back when. And I'm going back centuries, not just um, I call it the recent past. I'm going back centuries and centuries.
Thousands and thousands of years.
Exactly. So how do I relate it back? Because I've being raised Catholic, I know religion was, especially in the Catholic faith, don't ask questions. The guy up front, he's wearing the collar. He's got the little white part here. He's wearing that collar. Don't ask any questions. Where in spirituality, your spirit guides demand that you ask questions. You have to ask questions. They can't just give you the answers if you're not asking questions.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, in that sort of same light, skeptics, people who believe mediums, what's the word I'm thinking of? There's a word I'm thinking of that you hate.
Psychics.
I
hate that
have
word.
this, and it's in my opinion, it comes from the carnival times and
Yes.
the foot call now when we'll tell you your name because we have clearly have caller ID. But how do you differentiate yourself in this industry of spirituality and from the I don't want to use bad words, but like
Yeah.
negative words anyways, but from
Yeah.
the typical psychics?
Psychics aren't bad. Let me make sure that I make that clear. I personally don't want to call myself a psychic because of the negativity that goes along with the term psychic. When I look at it and I see the Hollywood version of a psychic, you see all the movies and whatnot. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And really, what I do is I channel. I gain the ability to channel loved ones from the other side and spirit guides, along with other things that sometimes freak people out. But but as a rule, it's your loved ones. I always point over that way. I don't know why. I always point to the closet. It kind of. I'm sure if the grandkids ever watch this show, they're not going to want to sleep in this. This is the office. That there is a spare bedroom, so people know if that's a spare bedroom. No, we don't put the kids in the closet. That's the spare bed. It folds down. So I'm sure the grandkids think the other side is in my walk-in closet there. So skeptics. How do I deal with the skeptics? I say the same thing to a skeptic all the time. I'm not here to prove to you that what I do is right. If you're open to hear a message, I'm willing to share with anybody. I will not get into a debate whether what I do is real or not real. It's not my job. It's I know for a fact that when I get a message, I know the difference between my own thoughts and the way a message comes to me. Just like I can hear your voice and I can hear my voice exactly the same way.
Now, speaking on that, there's always different, especially in media, different methods and different ways of seeing. I don't know if my camera just glitched or if that was my computer. The different ways of receiving a message. And I know when we were younger, there used to be a TV show called Crossing Over with John Edwards.
Oh, my hero.
And this was long before you were spiritual. You did anything in the spirituality realm, and you religiously watched that show.
Jeez, I forgot you knew that. Wow.
And I remember a lot of weird things. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But he always talked about it as in he felt the presence. Yeah. They were showing him a father figure on whichever side.
Yeah.
How do you receive messages? Is it the same way? Do you receive them
never easily? The same way twice. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's rarely the same way twice. Sometimes I'll have a spirit come through. Now you got to remember, a soul that comes through from the other side doesn't have flesh and bone. So they're not coming through and they don't look like Kevin. If I'm on the other side and I'm coming to Jake, I'm not coming through wearing a Canuck shirt and with my blue eyes. I'm coming through as a ball of energy because that's what a soul is. What they do is they will present themselves as the person you want them to be, that you need them to be. That's a better way to phrase that. So if they're coming through as my dad, they will present themselves as my dad. Can you see that? Yeah. So that's a picture of my mom and dad. So they'll present themselves as dad. Now, a lot of times they'll come through. I don't know who these people are. I'm like, well, interesting. Okay, you have brown hair and blue eyes. That 95% of the population. Okay, now what? Who are you? So they'll show me a picture of my dad. So in my mind, I know it's a parental figure. So this soul comes through. There's a picture of dad. I know, okay, is your grandfather crossed over or is it your dad? Other times I just know it's your sister that is coming through, or it's a friend. And that's the knowing.
And how like you say just knowing, but like it's I'm trying to just get an explanation.
Yeah.
But also spirit guides, right? So spirit guide comes through. Why would they present themselves as male, female, transgender, whatever they come through as? Why would they do
question.
That?
So I can understand them easier. The only purpose. Everybody tries to put way too much thought into this. A soul doesn't have a gender. You have incarnated many times. Sometimes you'll incarnate as a male. Sometimes you'll incarnate as a female. No, you can never come back and be a butterfly. A human soul is a human soul. Animal souls are animal souls. So when I'm connecting with a guide, they present themselves either male or female. The reason they do that is so the interpreter can understand, because a female talks differently and thinks differently than a male does. So when they're saying something, my psychic part of my brain knows how to interpret that thought. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Cool.
I just don't understand why, like, and this is 100% me. I don't know if anyone else there feels that, but
I'm sure they do.
Why would the message differ from hearing from a woman to a man,
Well, it wouldn't.
or vice versa.
It's the way I interpret it. So, if you've got four in any given chapter of your life, you could have 3 to 5 guides. Let's say you have 4, which, by the way, you do. And they all line up, and one's your main guide, one's your career guide, one's your educational guide, and one's your finance guide. How do I know the differences between them? Well, okay, I feel a female presence. I know that's not your main guide. That has to be your spiritual guide, because I know your main guide is a male.
Just the way you perceive it. Okay.
Exactly. And I tell people, when I feel my guides, I don't see like flesh and bone. I don't see what other people see. Everybody's going to get this differently. Some people will see full body. My guide is a Aboriginal with long braided hair with a full feathered dress. If I see my guide, he's going to get mad at me. I always picture him with like really thick glasses with the tape in the middle, and his name's Harold.
All right then.
Right? It's what we need, not that's why I really stay away from giving descriptions of guides. Besides, your guide presents themselves as a male, or they present themselves as a female. Because that's how they want to be interpreted.
Fair. We have a comment here, a question here from Shelley Walser. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah. Says, "Hi, gentlemen. Sorry I'm late getting on. Kevin, how old were you when you could hear spirits or knew you had a special ability?" I didn't use the word hate, LOL.
I didn't use the word hate. Oh, yes. Okay. She's a client of mine. I was like,
all right.
How old was I? Good question. I don't remember not. How's that? I always saw things I wasn't supposed to see. I don't remember. I honestly, I can't remember. Even as I remember as a like being 6 years old, even before that, because would have been in kindergarten. So 4 or 5 years old, sitting in the playing on the playground in front of my old house. Yes, we had monkey bars. They were these steel things that you could really hurt yourself. They don't have them anymore.
I'm pretty sure they still have monkey bars, old man.
And I can remember you're like talking to something that wasn't there. And I was amazed that nobody else saw what I saw. So, yeah, I don't remember not seeing.
But then as you explained in your story at the very beginning, you ended up just burying it and ignoring it for
just
years
like everybody
years.
else. So many of us do, because unfortunately, as parents, our parents, especially my mom, that was evil, man. I mean, you didn't see dead people. That was of the devil.
I was gonna say that's a great way to get a exorcism or
oh gosh, yeah. Sit out of class and write the 10 commandments down on a piece of papers the whole time, because I did that a whole lot.
There's only 10 of them.
Yeah, there's only 10 commandments, so you could. I mean, they cover a lot though, so it limits you on what you're allowed to. But if you could think outside the box, and I used to. It's like, well,
you'd have to sit there and you have to sit there and write everything out.
Yeah, technically, it's not wrong, because it's not part of the 10 commandments. Oh, I used to get in so much trouble.
Shocking.
Shocking. I know.
Talk back and ask questions, and something I've never heard of.
I know.
We have another question here from the post you made from Kennedy Senior Services Inc. How do you turn on off? Well, let's try that again.
Yeah.
How does he turn it on and off in regards to channeling, in regards to you?
You know, great question. And I'm going to go back when I first took Ken Lewicki's course. The idea of taking his course was turn all this shit off. And have the ability to turn it off, and then maybe turn it back on, just like a light switch, right? Turn on, turn off. I wanted to be able to go black and do this and not be able to see it. I always say I had a aha moment 10 minutes into Ken Lewicki's level 1, where I went, Ow, you don't turn it off. Okay. So people always ask me, how do I connect? Well, I'm always connected. My guides and I have a relationship where I can ask them anything at any time because I don't have to do the whole breathe, bring the source energy in, wiggle my ass to ground. I'm always connected. And sorry, most people who I just did that are going, what the fudge is he talking about? Wiggle his ass. It's a thing. Ellie will understand. So yeah, I don't disconnect. I'm always connected. And I think I would love to see 7 billion people wake up tomorrow morning. Jake had to try that to see if it actually worked. He just turned his
No,
camera
I had to cough.
Oh.
I didn't want to cough in the middle of your story.
I want 7 billion people tomorrow morning, wherever they are in the world, in their morning, to wake up and want to take a channeling course. Because how cool would the world be if every single human on Earth had the ability to talk to their spirit guides? Would it be perfect? No. Would it be better than what we have now? Oh, I'm not going to swear. Can I swear? It's my podcast.
You already did swear. It's your show.
But it's on Facebook, so I don't know if I'm allowed to swear.
I mean, you can't. YouTube will give you poop if you put it on YouTube. So
okay, well, we're on YouTube too. So, it would be a way better place than what we have currently. It wouldn't be perfect. I don't think we're perfect as possible, but boy, would it be a way better place. So, yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
So this question doesn't fit all the way in. Or does it? It does. How has your intuition saved you from a potential dangerous situation? As well as a child, did you often hear your name being called? I know that because Heather corrected herself in the bottom. Thank you so much for that, Heather, because I would have confused myself.
How has your intuition saved you from potential dangerous situation? It's funny. I'm like, I really haven't done anything since I started really channeling properly. So really the biggest thing is it keeps me from using my mouth, that voice of mine. My guides every once in a while will go, yo, no, don't do that. It also really helps day to day when you're dealing with difficult people to be able to take a deep breath and allow it to pass. And know that we a real big word in the spiritual community is triggers. In the past, when someone triggered me, I snapped. I would come off the handle and I would just be dad rant. And I find now I'm able to kind of go, is that me being triggered or like what is going on? Have that conversation real quickly in the moment, not go, oh, hold on. Before you trigger me. Okay, you're an asshole. I don't have to deal with you. But in the moment, just go, yeah, you're being triggered. Just take a deep breath. You're good. So dangerous situations, I really haven't come across what I would call a dangerous situation.
I think the question Heather was kind of pointing was more your intuition. I know in past podcasts you've talked about how your intuition is a moment of your spirit guides.
Yes.
Trying to connect and give you a notice.
Oh.
I think that was more where the question was going towards.
We're going back to Uncle Burke stories.
Oh, God.
My best friend in the world, who is now crossed over, God rest his soul. He is not resting. That's just a joke between Burke and I. We grew up together. Grade 11, met him, where it was literally two soulmates meeting and soulmates. Two souls meeting and knowing that we belong together. We literally are the same soul family.
Time out.
Yeah.
Before you go any further, you said soulmate and then you changed your mind on that.
Yeah,
on the wording, just because of the connotation of soulmate
and male.
in male and male soulmate. Like,
That's
can you not have a soulmate that is male?
100%, one
Okay.
million percent. That's why I don't like the word soulmate. I try to stay away from it because Western society has turned soulmate into you have to find your soulmate
Cupid
to
and
be a
love.
lover,
Yeah.
right? And that can be male or female. In actuality, in my belief, can you imagine if there was only one person you were supposed to be with?
Yeah.
And you had to try to find them in, what is it, 7 billion people on Earth?
7.9 billion. I Googled it because I wanted to ask you why so many billions didn't get the ability, but you were pretty close.
Right. So 8 billion people, you've got to try to find that one. Come on.
Yeah.
Do you make contracts with members of your soul family that when you meet here on Earth, your souls are going to connect? 100%.
Okay.
I believe I've said this before to you, Jake. You and I are belong to the same soul family.
Yeah.
Just because you were born into a family here on Earth doesn't necessarily mean you're the same soul family on the other side. So go back when I was a kid to answer this question. Burke and I, we did some really stupid stuff. I can remember numerous times I'm like, dude, this isn't going to end well. We should just walk away. We'd be at a party and I'd just be like, dude, time to go. He got to the point where he trusted it. And he would just look whoever we're with and goes, now you got to picture, I'm this skinny little kid at the time.
You were skinny?
I was 5'11", weighing 140, if that. I was super skinny. Burke, on the other hand, had a full beard by the time he was 4 and weighed like 300 pounds. He was like that big mountain biker, the big biker looking mountain man kind of looking dude. When he spoke, people who didn't know him well, because he was a teddy bear.
I was going to say, he's the typical big biker guy, but you get to know him, you're like, oh, you're just a soft little teddy bear.
Exactly. But people who didn't know him, when he spoke, they listened.
Yeah.
So when we were with somebody that I didn't know, and I'm like, yeah, Burke, this isn't right. We need to go. He would go, let's go. And we'd leave. Sure enough, something would happen at that party that wasn't good. And it's happened more than once. Like that's just not a one-off. Was a common occurrence growing up. And many times I'd be like, I know I shouldn't do this. I know it. I know I shouldn't do this. But it looks like so much fun. I'm going to do it anyways. And sure enough, you're like, oh, God, I shouldn't have done that. Again, that's that intuition. That's the easiest way your spirit guides have to communicate with you when you're not channeling is through that gut feeling, intuition, whatever you want to call it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now that's the second part of Heather's question. As a child, did you often hear your name being called?
No, not really. No. I seen a lot of stuff. Would see things like we had a grass out front of our house. We had a cement playground that was kind of raised up. And then behind our house was a grass hill. And I used to see people running on the grass hill. And I'd be like, it was Uncle Pat. Uncle Pat and I shared a room. My brother Pat and I shared a room. He just came to me and goes, I remember this. And I'd say, oh, look, somebody's running on the grass. And he'd be like, there's nobody there. So I'd just shut up. Oh, I must have been seeing things. Nah, I have somebody on the grass. Right?
So now, as we're 7 days away from spooky season and Halloween, I listen to a lot of podcasts that talk about the occult, talk about hauntings and kind of out there mysteries.
Yep.
When the first thing that comes to mind, because it's just something I listen to, is the Amityville Horror House.
Easy for you to say.
Easy for me to say. Where there was
scariest shows I've ever watched on TV.
Well, not even the show, but just the real life story behind it.
Oh, yeah.
What is a demon or what is a negative spirit in the spirituality community? Because from what you've said and explained, everyone has a spirit. Everyone, when they pass on, their spirit moves into
their soul. Everybody has a soul.
Sorry, a soul.
Yeah.
And so is there a systemic change to become like and I'm going to put it in quotes,
Demon.
evil soul, demon, whatever it is that causes these haunts and these negative things to happen to people?
It's funny. Ken, I call him a friend now, but he's also my mentor. Him and I were having that discussion yesterday, day before, I think it was. And I literally was like, you know what? There's a reason I haven't delved into the dark side of spirituality, because it doesn't affect me. I don't give it the power to affect me. I know it's there. I know there's beings. So you have beings, and then you have souls. Beings don't have a soul. They're the darker side of spirituality. Honestly, I'm not able to comment on it as much as intelligently enough to be able to make sense of it. I know it's there. I've had to deal with them on a very
Surface
base
level?
level. Huh?
Surface level?
Surface level. We're stupid to think that spirituality. Wow, something
told
just
you.
happened there. That's
Told you
fucking
my
weird.
camera's
Fuck weird.
wonking out.
There would be stupid to think that spirituality is all just rainbows and unicorns and everything's perfect. Unicorns poop. So there is that dark side. Yeah, he just turned. He's like, "What?"
I'm walking away from this conversation.
There is the dark side to spirituality. I've made a conscious decision not to delve into that dark side of spirituality. Do I know it's there? Yes. Do I know how to deal with it if it tries to affect me? Yes. Thus, if you're going, I'm going to look right into my camera. If you're going to get into spirituality, please, 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 please get somebody that can train you professionally, someone who's been there and done that, because it's not all rainbows. You do have to be able to deal with other stuff that when it comes up. I would hate to see if Ken didn't teach his students how to deal with it, because we've had to deal with some stuff in our house that wasn't so pleasant. We dealt with it and it's gone. I'm not going to research it. It doesn't interest me enough to research it. Other people thrive on it, which scares the living bit BBs out of me, because I don't think you need to. I think there's enough good that you can take a lifetime learning about the good. Yep. Know how to deal with the bad. Don't get me wrong. You have to know how to deal with the bad.
But just enough to rid it and not delve into it.
Exactly.
Yep.
I show my crystal because I forget what it's called, but it helps with negativity. As soon as you started talking about it, I had to pick it up. So,
you mentioned that there's a difference between souls and what was the other word you used?
Beings.
Beings. Can you do you know the difference, or can you explain it, or is it more in depth than
in depth? That's getting really deep. That honestly, again, it's something I choose not to delve into.
No, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
It's just I want to stay in the happy side. I've
Speaking
had enough
of happy
dark.
Side. Speaking of happy side, do you have a memory or a time where you've had a session, or even doing the Sunday sessions that you do, or the interviews, where you can remember a very positive experience, where someone either came off as very resistant at first and became super into it, or just a really good story where you're able to connect someone and get them answers?
It's funny. I think everybody that does what I do will come across somebody who tries to test you sooner or later. I really haven't. People who book a session with me want to get a message. I don't see the point of someone booking a session with me and paying $30, $75, whatever the price is at the time, and just to make me to try to go, you're wrong. Nah, I haven't had it yet, thank goodness. Touch wood. I'm sure I will. Cool story just happened today. A friend of mine booked a session. back from my playing baseball days, and a mutual
Awesome.
friend came through. We both obviously knew this person, so it was really, again, it's one of those. I prefer to do readings for complete strangers rather than somebody I know, because when I know you, if like I know Jake, I'm able to say Dakota's going to come through, such as because it's the low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
So this person came through. I'm not going to mention names just for confidentiality,
of course.
and kind of shocked us both because it wasn't somebody we thought would come through for her. And he had one message, and that message was thank you. She had actually forgotten he was at a point in his life, at one point in his life, where life wasn't going good, and he wanted to end it. She was able to say something to him that night at a ballpark that turned it around for him. Whew, goosebumps.
He said I was going to make him cry.
His message was thank you because he was able to be happy. He got past that block. He lived long enough to be happy. What better gift? So yeah, tears of joys. Mike Clark, breathe. Mike Clark is back in my high school days, Jake. He's the picture you guys always laugh at in the yearbook.
Which one?
The one that Amanda came running upstairs and said, and you said you... Sorry, Mike, I had to tell the story. I had to lighten things up.
I had another question and I completely lost it there.
Allison says, the house needs clearing again.
The basement is making me uneasy.
She's just saying that because, what's her name? Izzy didn't want to go downstairs yesterday. Before everybody got there, we were asking her to go downstairs. She's like, I'm not going down the stairs. I know what happened down there. I'm not going down there.
Not doing it, man.
Not doing it. Mike says I still need to see that picture. I'll find the yearbook. Annual. Yeah, it's around somewhere.
I don't remember what my question was going to be because we got very sidetracked there.
Shut up.
But I'm medicated for that too. But honestly, it goes to show like how important words are, Kevin.
Oh,
and you'll never know what words might mean to something to specific people.
I can't count the number of times I've been doing a reading and a soul will come in and the person goes, I have no idea who this is. And I'm like, well, they're telling you, they're telling me you knew them in school. You weren't a friend, but when you guys cross paths on the hallway, you used to stop and say hi. End of story. Just that simple. And that soul wants you to know how much that meant to them because nobody else did that. They were the one bullied in school. And when I phrase it like that, the person I was talking to, the young lady went, oh my God, and said the name. And I'm like, yeah, that's him. And she's like, that is the most bizarre. Like if I could have listed 100 people that would have come through, he would have been 900th.
Yeah.
Right. That's an important thing to know too. When you're booking a session, yeah, you can ask me to see if someone's over, but we as mediums have no control who comes through. Sometimes people really need you to hear something. And a lot of times it's what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. A lot of times it's who you need to hear, not what the person you think you need to hear. Does that make sense? Did I say that right? Okay.
I think you said it sort of right.
Yeah,
it's a message
makes sense to us. It's in Hughes land.
It's the message you need from the person you need to hear it from.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That brings me back to my question that I had before we got very sidetracked. Group readings. I know you do group readings occasionally.
Yeah.
How do you choose, or how does the spirits choose who comes through? Like you just said, you don't get to choose. Like if there's a group of 5 people, is it just whoever comes through? If you get 3 people for one person and 2 people get no one. That's the way it is, unfortunately.
I try to make sure everybody gets, when it's a smaller group like that. I've done a group reading of 75 people.
Oh,
When I was
geez.
out in Canmore, there were 75 people. Graham and I were on stage doing it, and it was random. And literally, how they showed me was literally, I would see a spotlight over somebody, like literally a spotlight would shine, and I would just, okay, you in the blue, I'm coming to you. This is your dad. This is your whoever it was. Um, One time during then, I had to do the whole who just had a friend pass away. It's somebody
Yeah.
on this side of the hall near the
But what
back.
I would call the John Edward sort of thing,
Yes,
where it's just
exactly. And
like, who
it
has
felt
a
very John Edward, and so it was really, how cool that was for me. It was like, oh yeah, man, yeah. But it was funny because it was someone at the very back who was there they were actually, she was taking pictures. She worked with Ken and she was taking pictures, so she wasn't there as a attendee. But when a spirit has a message for you and they want to get it through, they're going to do whatever it takes to get that message through to you. Um, I've had sessions where I'm talking to Jake, but um, this didn't happen. I'm just using this as
yeah.
an example. Dom's in the house in your apartment in the room beside you, and I'm getting a message and it's not resonating at all with you. And I'll be like, is there somebody else in the room or in the house? And they're like, yeah, so and so. Can you ask them? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's my mom. I'm like, okay. When a spirit has the opportunity to pass the message on, they take the opportunity because they don't get the opportunity very often, unfortunately. It's
Yeah.
not like there's a million. Well, there is a million. There's not like there's 9 billion of me doing what I do.
Yeah. Anything else that you want to touch on? Anything
Oh,
that you thought I would touch on that we didn't?
I'm blown away. I just looked at the clock and realized we're 47 minutes in already.
Yep.
What have we not touched on, Jake? I mean, we've gone from A to Z and everywhere in between.
It's true. Now, what about the future? What do you see? Not just for like, I know you don't tell the future, but like
Yeah.
as a person who wants to continue the spirituality conversation and continue moving forward and give people their messages. Where do you see things going
For me,
for you personally? Yeah.
for me personally,
Yeah.
I obviously I'll never quit doing what I'm doing. I have found my passion, and I can say that with like as much passion as I want. um, my guides think that's funny. Sorry. You think I tell you think I tell bad dad jokes? My guides are way worse, Jake. Um, I would love to start doing more events, more group readings, um, more. I love lately. A lot of my sessions are working with fellow practitioners, um, whether they be mediums, whether they be healers, energy healers, whether they work in the Akashic records, whether all kinds of different spirituality practitioners, which is really cool because when I do a session like that, we get to go to way a different depth of spirituality than if I did a reading for you where I'm just bringing grandma and grandpa through. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
So I'd like to do more of that and continue doing more of that, but I'd also like to do more events like I did in Canmore, like I did in last month here in Airdrie at the community center. Like I'm doing November 16th. Plug. See, I'm getting better, Jake.
See, you're
November
getting better.
16th, I am doing a live event. We're actually hosting it in our house, where I am just going to explain spirit guides, explain the purpose of a spirit guide, explain why we have spirit guides, and then show you and show others who are there what the messages would look like. Obviously, in a group setting, I will keep the messages rather neutral, I'll say. Is that a proper word?
You're not going to go into super in-depth stuff.
No, exactly. It's not like I'm going to do a full 1 hour session on everybody that comes. It's going to be little mini readings with your spirit guides, like I used to do on Sunday sessions. Um, very limited for space in my house, so we're going to limit it to 10 people. I think there's 3 tickets sold already, so there's still 7 tickets available. I've kept the price at $20 just because I want to keep it. For me, it's not about becoming a millionaire doing what I'm doing. I'm very cognizant of money. I come from very, very, very humble beginning. Like I say, Mom was 8 months pregnant with me when Dad died, and she raised 9 of us on her own. So I know the value of a dollar. So I'm gonna keep the price at $20. It's out here in Airdrie, Alberta. If you're out this way, middle of November, send me a message. I'll put you on the list. You can e-transfer the $20, and it's going to be a cool night. It's going to be something totally different than what would be a normal presentation, I'll say.
Mike Clark asks.
Oh, God.
1 second. If he pays $20, does he get breakfast?
Oh, for you, buddy? Yes. For everybody knows, Mike Clark doesn't live here. Mike Clark lives in beautiful west coast of British Columbia, and I believe he's in Maple Ridge still. It could be in Poco, which would be Port Coquitlam to most normal people. If you're out this way, buddy, you're more than welcome to drop by. And yes, I'll even take you for breakfast, so you don't have to eat my home cooking.
Trust me, Mike. That's a benefit.
Hey, oh, he's in Ruskin. Sorry,
where's Ruskin?
Maple Ridge. It's like saying you're from
White Rock if you're actually from Surrey.
Exactly, or if you're from, like, saying you're what neighborhood do you live in?
Not Forest Lawn, Skyview.
Skyview. I live in Skyview. No, you live in Calgary.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Allison says Mike she'll make Mike breakfast the next morning. Wow, that's kind of awkward. You're welcome.
It's where the first train robbery happened in BC, just outside of Mission.
It is.
The random facts you learn with Kevali channeling.
There you go.
Anything else? We still have like 4 minutes, 7 minutes.
4 minutes left. I have
math is hard.
Math 7. I was like, yeah. Still lots. I still have limited availability for the rest of my rest of the month. Halloween's on Monday. I believe I have maybe 2 sessions left for Monday, Halloween day. And that's where you can get in for $30 for a 60-minute reading. That's going to end on Monday. It was supposed to be a 1 week. It's been 6 weeks. And I keep posting the same graphic because I'm lazy and don't want to go back to Kavana and change it. So that's going to end on Monday. It's going to my pricing will be going to $75 for a 60-minute session. Still an unbelievable deal.
So for over half off, you can book and get in a couple sessions left on Monday. That's kind of it.
I think I have a session available on Thursday. Message me. I always tell people, go to my Facebook page, click the book now, find a time that works for you. I'll tell you if it works for me. The reason I do that is, as a lot of you know, my health hasn't been the greatest. I've been suffering drastically from long COVID, thus the way I'm breathing. So I have to limit my sessions quite a bit just because of that. So my clients have been really good about it. Go to my Facebook page, click on the book now, pick a time, and then we'll work back and forth and we'll find something that works for you and for me.
Fair. I've got nothing left. I mean, you answered all the questions and carried on for longer than I thought. So,
well, I have to say, Jake, this has been an absolutely effing honor. I was there wasn't a question when we discussed it. It was, yeah, you're gonna be the one that does this. So people know. There's, yeah. Jake does a stream. Thus he has that professional looking whole Mikey thing happening there, which apparently I'm going to be getting. It's called Common Courtesy. Is that correct, Jake?
Yes. So I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays, as long as I'm not busy, which apparently everything ends up landing on a Thursday. So always Tuesdays, half the time on Thursdays, sometimes Wednesdays, sometimes Fridays.
So randomly,
Tuesdays is the one consistent day. But I play video games, hang out with friends, tell jokes. Right now, I'm in the process of raising money for a beautifully great cause called Extra Life, which helps raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. As many of you know, I was born premature, but also my niece, Sheree, was born premature. And without the care at the Children's Hospital, we don't know where we'd be with Sheree, to be completely honest.
Or with
she
you,
was
for
born,
that matter. I mean, it wasn't the Calgary Children's Hospital, but it was a NICU.
Yep. With the fundraiser so far, I've raised just under $400. And next Tuesday, I'm dyeing my hair bright blue. If we hit that, when we hit that $400, when we hit that $400, we're doing a bikini stream in which, instead of wearing a normal T-shirt like an adult does, I wear a bikini top. There are all sorts of different extra incentives. Every dollar helps. Even if you can't donate, coming out to watch the streams, just say hi, because it is a 25-hour stream on Saturday, November 5th.
And where can they go and watch you do that?
You can watch me at twitch.com/common courtesy, or if you just go to Twitch, common courtesy, instead of the E in courtesy, it's a 3 because everything else was taken.
And if people want to donate to your Extra Life, is it Extra Life?
Extra Life, yes.
Extra Life campaign. What's the easiest way? Can you put in a link on the chat?
That is what I'm grabbing right now.
There you go. Nobody wants to see Jake in a bikini, but everybody wants everybody wants to see. Holy crap!
Me. That was me. Don't worry.
No, there was a big bang out here.
Oh, like it really happened right as I hit enter.
Lit up. What the fudge was that? Oh, you know what it was? It was probably fireworks for Diwali.
I was hearing fireworks out here, so probably.
Yeah. That's what it is. Scared the living beebies out of me. Holy. No, like it was like, whoo. So yeah, there's a link. If you want to donate, please go there. Nobody wants to see Jake in bikini, including
no one.
But we do want to raise as much money as we can for the Children's Hospital here in Calgary, or I guess it's Alberta as a whole.
Well, the mine goes directly to the Alberta Children's Hospital in Calgary.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much, Jake. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you for letting me. It was a lot of fun.
I didn't even know who I'm interviewing. You've thrown me off. I knew who I was interviewing before I started the show, and I was not going to forget it.
I know you completely forgot it.
Oh, no, because next week is Halloween. I'm not doing a show on Halloween. I have too much fun handing out candy to the kids. So next week, we will be preempted by Halloween. But this Wednesday, in a matter of 2 days, tune in for the Ask Ken show, which, of course, I host with Ken Lewicki. It's going to be the Halloween edition. And we were going to get into some really, really cool topics. So my next session will be November 7th. I'm going to be interviewing a young lady named Heather Tate. She is an energy healer, and really, that's all I know about her. I don't know a lot about her. I know that she's an old friend of Ellison's, actually, from that they go way back to Montreal. So I'm really looking forward to hearing Heather's story. She has a really cool journey. So I look forward to that. That would be November 7th. So tune in there. Tune in on Wednesday. If you want tickets for the November 16th, there's still, I think, 7 available. If you want to book a session, go to Kevali Channeling Facebook and click the book now. Until next week, thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. And Jake, I love you.